Welcome to the Story-Eyed Podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Jen. On this show, we talk about all things Williams syndrome. We're excited to share our community with you. Thanks for being here. That is one thing that I thought when I first met you. I was like, you're so tall.
I do get that. That'll probably happen again. Laura said the same thing when she met me for the first time. She's like, you are much taller than I thought you were going to be.
Much taller than, you thought. So that's it. I don't know. Brendan, you're exactly what I thought.
Thanks.
Thanks. Question?
Thanks.
Yep, we liked liaising. We liked liaising with Megan.
Yeah, yes. Like I said before we started recording, she's only been on staff for a couple months and already it's hard to remember a time before she was here. She's just really jumped in, made a huge impact. Just a superstar, really. I only am going off of 2 months of information, but these 2 months have been very good and just a lot of fun and just, she's a smart cookie.
It's great, and hopefully everybody gets a chance to meet her at convention and meet her family, and she might get overly peopled, Brendan.
She will hopefully not get overly peopled.
Where can people contact Megan if they want to connect?
Megan at williams-syndrome.org. Megan.
Yeah, how many calls do you get a day? Do you know, Joel?
A lot. Obviously, it ebbs and flows depending on what's going on. But like right now we get a lot. Obviously, it's a lot of convention calls.
Everybody enjoy learning about Megan, and we'll see you at convention.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
You guys in a few weeks.
This will be right before convention starts.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Woo-hoo.
Hi, I'm Morgan Jane Starkman from Inner Sense Organic Beauty, and I'm so excited to share something that I love, our Hair Renew Scalp Hair Bath and Soothing Conditioner. Soothes my hair and soothes my scalp irritation. These products leave my scalp feeling truly calm, and they make me feel confident and cared for, and I think you'll love them too. Let's take care of our scalp and hair together. Try them today and save 15% on your first purchase with my code Morgan15 at InnerSenseBeauty.com.
Awesome. Great.
Awesome. Hello, Megan. How are you?
Good. Brendan, how are you?
Doing well. Weather's not so great, but I can't control that. So,
Too hot or too cool for you?
It's gloomy outside. We're supposed to rain all day into tomorrow, etc. So for those who don't know who you are or might not know who you are, why don't you take a few moments to introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sounds good. My name is Megan Lenihan, and my new position with the WSA is called the Family Resource Liaison. So I often am the one answering the phones. Now, if you've been calling the WSA recently, I have 3 kids, and my oldest son is almost 10, and he has Williams syndrome. So that's what brought me to this community. And then he has 2 sisters, 2 younger girls who are almost 8 and 5. So that's my crew. And we live in St. Louis with my husband too. And what else? My professional background is social work. And so a lot of what I did before coming to the WSA was connecting families to resources. So that sort of was a natural fit when they were looking for someone to do this kind of work. It's what I love to do. And Williams syndrome is obviously so special to me since my son was born. And I've been a member of the WSA ever since.
Yeah, so it's the perfect transition.
Exactly. His name, believe it or not, is William, and we call him Will.
Cool.
Yep. Yep.
And the whole family's coming with you to convention?
The whole crew. I went to Phoenix, just Will and I, but this is the first time everybody's coming.
Okay, and you're all driving?
We're all driving. It's hard to find a direct flight. We were struggling with the best way to do it. So by the time we decided driving was the way to go. Wish us luck.
Yeah. No, it'll be great. We drove our first year, the first convention we drove from Colorado to Columbus, and that has some fond memories. Memories about that. Well, so tell us about Will, and tell us about your family and your journey with Williams syndrome.
Sure. So let's see. Will is he'll be a fourth grader. And he was diagnosed with Williams syndrome when he was 5 months.
Okay.
We were living in Chicago, Illinois at the time, so he was born there. And a story I've heard a lot of families, everything, we didn't know anything before he was born. And when he was a long delivery and 5 months of trying to figure out why things were delayed and why he was having trouble sleeping. And anyway, all of the things that were a lot of eating struggles, all that. We moved to live in Nashville, Tennessee when he was a baby. And then I think we saw a new pediatrician and she saw him with new eyes. And she heard his heart murmur, and the rest was through seeing a cardiologist, and the genetic test is how we found out when he was 5 months. And so a lot of his early intervention we did at the Susan Gray School at Vanderbilt. So I've heard you've had some people on from Vanderbilt, and Brendan has connections there. And so that's where we kind of first started learning a lot about Williams syndrome.
Yep.
Could ramble on and on, but how the first person I connected with. So a lot of people probably can relate to, we were sharing with our family, we were trying to learn about Williams syndrome, meet people, all the things, all the research. And someone we knew Jenna Ottenheimer in Chicago. It was random. So they were the first people we talked to, and she helped us a lot get connected, and we did some walks in Nashville and met people that way. And anyway, since then we moved up to St. Louis, and now that Will's 10, we're learning who he is as an individual, which is really cool as he's getting older. And we're taking what we've learned from the WSA and researching and from his doctors and everything. And then now he's at this kind of cool stage where we're like, oh, you're telling us a lot about who you are and how you want to do stuff and how he wants to learn and his interests and things. So feel like we're entering this new phase of this school age time out of him being this little kid, and we're on the brink of learning so he can tell us more. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that experience.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think that and I can't remember who said it to me, but it's just something, probably a parent of a person with Williams syndrome, and I won't ever forget it. They're like, at some point in your child's journey, they will start telling you how far you can push them and what they are capable of. And so that's great that you're seeing that at such a young age.
Slowly,
and, we get a lot of defiance in our house, so there's a lot of no's, and it's real hard to decipher what that no means. A lot of times it just means not right now. Right. So you said your background is in social work, and so what made you move to all these different places? You've been a lot of places in a short time.
A lot of places, yeah. I'm also originally from California, so it's sort of more my husband's from St. Louis, and our family, we have a really big family scattered all over.
Yeah.
And I think Nashville was originally to be with family, and that was a wonderful time. And then we ended up coming back up here for family, and a good school also we had kind of figuring out what was going to be the best learning environment for Will and for all of our kids. That was through a lot of help from Dr. Mervis and Robin Pegg. Helped us a little bit with understanding, guiding us in that direction. And that's how we came to be where we are for the school age time.
Okay.
And like I said, we have a big family that helps us out all over the country, which is how we bounced around.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. There's nothing more you can say about having the local family and connections that can support you. That's so good to hear. And good schools, it sounds like, in St. Louis. We're all learning together. That's the thing, Williams syndrome, right? As we're learning with his team, and it's a constant process on that. We're always educating them about Williams syndrome, having help people help us about it. But I think we're in a pretty good setup, which is great that we feel really heard from his team
and that as we're figuring it out as we go. So yeah, it's working out.
I know. So now in this new role, you said it's month 2. How has it been going? I heard Joel said you're shaking things up. That's exciting. Tell us what you've seen in this short amount of time.
Oh
You've been
gosh,
on staff.
it's awesome. I was just telling my husband the other day, I feel so fortunate that to be in a situation where people share their Williams syndrome stories with me every day. And everybody has a unique experience. And so that's a lot of my day is driven depending on why people are calling. And it's across the lifespan, truly. New diagnosis, people who are later in life with Williams syndrome or have children that are older adults, medical questions, connections to other families, questions about convention. And a lot of times I'm chatting with people, hearing what it is they need. And then the WSA just has endless resources and connections, it seems sometimes. And it's just a matter of sifting through to find the right family to match somebody with, and learning about where they are locally, or finding an article that we have from a doctor, chatting with. So I just find myself learning all the time too. And Joel probably laughing. I'm constantly bugging people. What about this? Where about this? Where do I find this? Chatting with all the other staff so I can get answers to people. Yeah, so I'm meeting people that way. And then of course, getting to know everybody on staff, which is so fun for me, and hear about, they all have their own experiences and how we can just keep working together with the same mission. It just blows my mind how many amazing people there are that are all working towards improving the lives of individuals with Williams syndrome and their families. And there's so many people doing amazing work in our community. And I'm just continually, like, every day, I'm like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah. It is amazing. And I'm biased, but I think that when you have the passion, right, behind what you do, as in the case with all of us, right? Like, we all know somebody with Williams syndrome, or we are a person with Williams syndrome in Brendan's case. Like, it really helps make the work that much more, I don't know if fun is the right word, but certainly fulfilling, and you feel good about what you do every day. And that is so important. And getting to help families is, I'm sure, just the biggest blessing. Is there anything specifically, like, heading into this role that you have been passionate about, just changing or learning as you are in your early stages of Williams syndrome as well?
Yeah, gosh, so many things. I think, trying to think about, always just trying to think about how to reach even more people, right? Something I think about a lot is, and I'm sure you both can relate to this, there are all the beautiful things that go with Williams syndrome. There are also just so many things that we're trying to navigate. Like, Brendan, you're just talking about paperwork, right? Like, all of that and that we're dealing with. So there's so many extras on our brains as Williams syndrome families, with health insurance and school. And then I could go on, as well as just regular life that comes. So I guess what I'm like, I just think there are so many barriers for people, that even when we want to access information or we want to follow through with something, that we constantly it can be really hard to just follow through with making that connection, making that phone call, sending that email or text to get the support that you need. And so I really would love to think super proactively about how to continue to follow up with people that might be needing a lot of help, but are just not quite able to make that connection, if that makes sense. So I would love to brainstorm, like, how can we reach more people proactively? And WSA already does an amazing job, but I think about that a lot, how much there is to navigate, and barriers that, as any mom, is just sometimes so hard to send the message especially when you need help.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that, at least I've seen in my own journey of advocacy for Stella, and I don't know how to say it in a nice way, but it's hard, and it's a lot of work, and the parents who have the time and the ability to put in that hard work are seeing the benefit, right? But there's so many parents that, because of the scope of their family dynamic outside of Williams syndrome, just do not have that same time or ability. And, like, how can we bridge the gap and help them so that not, I think like all people, so like in a perfect world, so all Williams syndrome people would have the same access to opportunity.
Yes.
And wouldn't slip through the cracks, because I definitely think, at least in the Williams syndrome community, our improved outcomes are a direct correlation between how much we invest in those folks. And so, yeah, I like your idea, and I like the idea of you being the conduit to helping maybe shore up those gaps. And it's a big task.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've already solved it.
I'm sure no one's ever thought of that before, right?
No, I think we all have, but none of us
Yeah,
have the time. So
exactly.
I love it.
That's what I mean. I know. You said it perfectly, right? Especially in those higher stress moments, right? And anyway, our network is vast of also really knowledgeable people who don't have personal experience too, and that is really cool. Like how can we get those people how can we all connect each other? And that's the liaison that I hope to do more of.
Yeah, that's great. Liaising. I love that. Yeah. Is that a word? Because we can make it.
That's what I keep joking about. I've been doing a lot of liaising on the phone. I don't think it's a real word.
I like it, and we should make it a thing. That's wonderful. How, for you, thinking of your own journey as a parent of somebody with Williams syndrome, even as a parent of somebody with Williams syndrome and a parent of siblings, right?
Yeah.
A person with a disability. Can you share with us just some of the things that you think are important in terms of that access piece that we were just talking about?
Something we try to do in our family is, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but something that we're doing, like the more that we get or advocate for Will to be in all the spaces that he desires to be, right? As we're trying to, his interests and how he learns and where he wants to be, push through hard things sometimes, right? And for his sisters to see that. I like to see it as, I want in his school community, in his extracurriculars, for people to see Will as Will, who he is, under Williams syndrome, understanding what he likes, what he doesn't like, why things might be hard for him, and why he might be better at some things than other kids are his age. And we talk about that really openly with his sisters and with his teachers. And we're just always trying to help people learn. And that's the way that we do it, and while also listening to Will. So just try to we're really open about who we are as a family. We keep showing up in spaces, explaining why we think something works, why it doesn't work for him or our family, and we just keep showing up with, as long as he wants to be a part of something, and being really transparent with everybody. And that's how we do it. I don't know.
I think that's really important.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I think it's really important, especially for self-advocacy and stuff, especially for him as young as he is. He'll learn over the years how to self-advocate for himself, which will help him in the long run. Yeah,
that's right.
Same with your daughters, right? Your daughters will see that the advocacy, that work that you're doing for will spill over into work that you're doing for them. And hopefully that sets them up for success as take on a larger role within his life and supporting him. I'm curious, what are the things Will says right now that he wants to learn or doesn't want?
Yeah, I know. He loves soccer. He really is something that but he's really great in particular about, there's things that are hard for him about actually playing, but he really loves to be a part of the team, and he really knows the rules, and he knows the players really well. And we're helping us with, I'd like to be a part of it, but games are hard for me, or when the unpredictability of it. So part of me is an example, letting go of, he should fully be a part of, however, this is how it's supposed to be, so we have to fully do it. And hearing him, I like to go to practice, and I like to be a part of friends and talk about it.
I don't want to go to the games.
But I don't want to go to the games, and it's so loud for me, and it's hard, all that. And then, so that's part of it too, is realize that it could look like that, right? Yep. It doesn't have, then that is his idea of being fully included in a comfortable way right now. And then I think as you get older, how we push a little bit to see if something might be more, you could get joy out of this and enjoy this if we can stretch ourselves a little bit and have him tell us what was good or bad about that experience. But and same with at school, he can now choose, he could be a part of the strings program or the chorus and listening to, what do you want to do? You want to try the chorus, you want to try the strings, and even him talking about what the challenges of certain sounds that he's been able to tell us a little bit about strings and even those parts. That's where we've seen a little bit in extracurriculars. And even just like learning more in school, he's been able to share a little bit more about the spaces where he's learning sometimes, like who's with him when he's telling us a little more about where he is able to focus a little bit in his own way as we ask questions about what his day looks like at school, learning more about where he likes to be more in which classrooms and things like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and that makes sense. It's interesting. I don't know if you've run into it yet, but the school that Stella goes to, there's just not that many disabled people. And in her school, it's like the more disabled people have challenges with communicating often. And then you have Stella, right? I always say she's like a gray area because she's maybe not as disabled as her disabled peers. And she's definitely more verbose.
Totally get that.
But sometimes that can be a challenge because she can get out of a lot of things. It is interesting when people have a voice in what's happening, right? And that can be a little bit harder for the school because they're not used to dealing with that necessarily. So our Williams syndrome, it goes back to like our Williams syndrome people have this unique profile, right? That is different than a lot of their disabled peers, and making sure that we honor that in a way that celebrates those unique things is important, but also that it's like the right amount of push and pull. Stella's the same way. She will definitely tell us the things that she likes. And you're right. I think we don't probably talk about this enough, but there's a big push, at least when I was first getting into learning about how disability works and disability in the general education works. And it's like this big push for like having our kids do everything at the same level. Yeah. Their gen ed peers. But really that's not what makes Stella happy. So like you said, finding that sweet balance of like, how can we include you in a way that you feel it's impactful to you, but how do we do that in a way that is like balancing? And like you said, it feels good for you too, because as a parent, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're supposed to be doing soccer like everybody else is doing soccer. And in this journey, you learn, oh no, you can do soccer in a way that works best
in
for
your
you.
own way and find your own path.
Yeah. And as you were talking, it also made me think about something recently that has been cool to see as he's getting older, now finishing third grade. And we've been lucky enough that he's had the same resource teacher since the end of kindergarten. And it's been really neat to see how we've been pushing all the articles we had research on this is why this way. And fortunately, he's been pretty receptive. But this year in the third grade, how I've noticed this really beautiful switch in her to be like, oh, like this is it. Like this is what, and in his own, again, like individual way, but really, I say that to say this sort of real slow, there's journey. I'm realizing this, that is for everyone who is a part of an individual's life with Williams syndrome to take a little bit of everything and watch it come together in the way is cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. No, that is cool. I'm excited to see what you bring to the group. We asked Laura the other day when she was on the podcast, and we'll ask you if you have a karaoke song teed up.
It's funny. Joel and I were messing around with karaoke the other day, and right now there's a lot of Bob Marley playing in our house.
Oh, yeah.
So I might lean that way. That's one of Will's favorites. So we might do Bob Marley. We'll see which one. I don't know. What did Laura say?
Yeah, she was like, no. She just said no. And I was like, oh, because it's funny because I'm like, okay, this is like the barometer, right? This is going to be the icebreaker. If you're feeling nervous coming on this podcast, which you should not, because we're a hot mess express, this will surely be the thing that gets you to loosen up. And she was like, nope, I don't, not for me.
So funny. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it.
But she is excited to watch everybody else.
Everybody else. That That could end up being me. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more people wanting to go ahead of me. That would rather.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot more people skilled in that, and I feel the same way. I totally understand. What is your plan for convention? Do you have are you talking? I haven't looked at the speaker session.
No, I don't. I think I'll be hanging out with Paula at the shop a little bit.
Great.
Or at the store and doing a lot of preparing on the front end, but now that I'll be bouncing around, I'm sure.
I'll be volunteering, so I'll come and hang.
You'll be around. But I wanted to know too if there's anything you all think is important in my role as Family Resource Liaison, what you think might be important for the WSA. Do you have any thoughts?
Brendan?
Just be you. Just be yourself. The authenticity is important. So if you're yourself, people will gravitate towards that.
I love that.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I love that too. The one thing that I would say, which I know convention is a busy time, the resources are thin there, but even if you could just have some dedicated time or a little booth where people could come up and meet you and talk to you, then I do know convention is so fast and furious and people are running around crazy, and it'll be especially easy for staff to get pulled into fires.
Yes.
That totally happens. But if we could just intentionally make sure that we create a space for people to connect with you, I think that's going to be I think that's going to pay some long-term dividends. And I think you should have a booth, and
that's a great idea.
Should play Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we'll stand by me. Yeah. Give us summer vibes.
Yeah, Will can come out, and is Will social? Is he the social William? Okay, then he could be your spokesman. He could hype you up.
Yeah.
He would love to introduce his mom and my daughters too. Really, it could really be.
The nice thing about the Williams syndrome conventions is that they will make you feel cool. People with Williams syndrome will make you feel like the coolest person.
You've been listening to the Starry-Eyed podcast presented by the Williams Syndrome Association and sponsored by InnerSense Organic Beauty. The show is hosted by Jennifer Keaton and Brendan Lemieux and produced by me, Joel Listman. All music by Tommy Barbarella and Mariella Elm. Got a question for the show? Email us at podcast@williams-syndrome.org. Video version of the podcast available on the Williams Syndrome Association channel on YouTube and on the Starry-Eyed podcast page on Facebook. Audio version available wherever you get your podcast delights. So like and subscribe and help spread some Williams Syndrome awareness.